This isn't the type of video that I normally make, but I thought I owe anyone that's watching this a little uh, tad bit piece into my mind. I'm never going to have a real job. I'm never going to have a real corporate career where I climb the ladder, where I kiss up to a boss, where I get told when I can have days on and off. I can't. It's impossible for me. It's literally impossible. I have I've done everything. I've literally done it all. Like if I go back in time, my first job was a soccer ref when I was like 12 years old. I liked that job because it was something that I was passionate about at the time, was soccer. Then I started going into high school. This is when I really started to rebel hard. I just remember every day I would go into school, I would just be getting taught these things, and I remember I would ask the teacher, when am I ever going to use this in real life? And they could never give me an explanation for when I would ever use it. And I remember one time my science teacher, I was like completely checked out from school. I was not doing any of the work. My science teacher literally said, Jacob, if you do this, you're going to go nowhere in life. And I was thinking, like, who are you to tell me that? Really, because you're just a teacher. Like now that I'm looking back on it, like literally you're just a teacher. Like, who are you to tell me that? Right? You're just a human being just like me. How do you know what I'm going to do? I was only like probably like 15 years old. It was like freshman year. But I got through high school. I graduated, and then I was not wanting to go to college at all because I knew that there was something wrong. Because I during high school, I worked at like my first job was at Taco Bell, and I remember my first paycheck I ever got, like not from like soccer reffing, because that was just like per game. Like my first like hourly paycheck, I think I probably I was working like 5 or 6 hours at a time at my shifts at Taco Bell. And I looked at my paycheck. I think I worked like 3 days, 3 like 6-hour shifts. So that's 18 hours. I looked at my paycheck. I spent 18 hours and my paycheck was like $97. I just sat there. Like, I was excited because I was like, hey, my first paycheck, But I just like sat there and looked at my phone. I was like, $97. Like, what do you mean? I literally just traded my hours and life energy for barely any money, right? And then as soon as I got that first paycheck, something just changed in my mind. I was like, dude, I cannot do this. And it was like my first week ever working. I was like, yep, I'm instantly like, I cannot do this. It was just like school. Like, as soon as I knew that I wasn't getting taught anything useful for real life, for the career path that I want to go down, I just like instantly checked out. So then I just became a total bum according to society, right? I never wanted to get any job. Like, I quit Taco Bell after like a few months. I didn't want to get any job. I didn't want to work at all. And honestly, it was kind of bad that I did that, because I was really like, I had no money, and I really actually was a bum according to society, because at that point of my life, I wasn't really doing anything. This was when I was around like 18 to 20 years old. The only thing that I did have like a skill set in was music. And then like, this is obviously what this whole channel is about. That's like my only skill set. And from the first time I started like got diving into music when I was like 10 years old, that was the only thing that was like, yes, that is exactly what I want to do. This is the only thing that genuinely fulfills me in life. This is the only thing that I would do this if I never got paid. And this is the only thing I want to do. Like, I knew that right from the start when I started making music. So basically going into like 18 to 20 years old. I'm 25 now for context. The only skill set I had was I was good at music, right? So I was hanging with friends, doing whatever, and then I would have some friends that made music. So like I would get together with them, we would try to jam out, but like nothing came to fruition of it. And then eventually, like society hit me where like I had no money. I was getting older. I wanted to move out of my parents' house. So I ended up getting a job, a couple jobs. I remember like my first real job was at UPS. I was loading boxes into a trailer. It was like in the middle of July. My shift was so weird. It was like 11 p.m. to like 4 a.m. or something. And I was just sitting there like packing these boxes into the truck. And I was thinking, how do people do this? Like, I was sweating bad and like my body was uncomfortable. And then I just seen all these people that were like old working there. And I'm like, how? Like, I'm literally a very young, able adult, like a very like fresh adult, and it's killing me. And I was like, how do these older people do it? Because there's people like in their 50s and 60s working there. I'm thinking like, what is going on here? Like, this is awful. So I remember one day at that job, like I pulled up for my shift start, and then it was like pouring down rain. I had to walk like half a mile just to get into the warehouse. And I was like, nah, like I'm good. Like I gotta walk in there. I gotta get drenched right before I go suffer even more. I was like, nah. So I went home, I quit. And then this is a common cycle and that I go through where I get tired of a job and I quit it, and then I get another one. And I'm actually going through that cycle right now because I literally just quit my job. And then the job cycle continued. Like I go to a job, I work it for like a month, for like 6 months to a year, and then I quit it, right? And then like again, I was growing older. I was like 20 years old right then, so I had a little bit of savings from the jobs that I did have because I had no bills. And then my friend was like, "Hey, come move out with me. I got a house set up. You can come in and you can, pay half rent." So I was like, all right, cool. But then as soon as I moved in, of course, societal pressures this more on me that I need to have a stable job. So I did the only thing I could because, again, my only skill set was that I was really good at making music. So I had to get another normal job, so I started working at a car factory. It was the Subaru car factory. And this is where it really broke me. This was the worst job I ever had. I remember going to the orientation because it was like the highest paying job I ever got, because of course society pressures you. You have to like make sure you have a high hourly wage because that's how you measure your worth or whatever. Like if you have a high hourly wage, then you'll feel better about yourself. So I remember it was paying like it was like $17 an hour. I was like, oh, that's the most amount I've ever got paid hourly. So I was like, yeah, that's the job I want, because and then I'll feel good about myself, and other people will look at me and be like, dang, he's got the highest paying job he's ever had, and my family will be proud. So I got the job, and I remember I walked in, I went through the training, For a week, it was completely horrible. I hated every single minute of it, of course, because I was being forced to go to this job to trade my time for money against my will to conform to society. So I got onto the floor, and they noticed that I had quality control experience from a previous job. So they said, "Hey, come here. We have a special job for you." And I was like, "Oh, cool. Like, I'm well valued in this company. You know, like they're really playing me to my strengths, right?" That's what I thought. And then I was doing quality control. So basically, like the way car factories work, if you've never seen one, like they have just these lines, and the cars just go like across these lines, and then there's like little worker dudes that like put the cars together. So it's just like constant, like the line just constantly moves. So I was basically at the end of the line, and all I did all day was literally just stand there and look at the cars that were being built. And I just made sure that every car was being made properly. Now, to some people, that may seem like a really chill job and it's super easy. It was the easiest job I ever had, but that's what made it so miserable. Because, like, I remember I was just started getting these horrible, like, depressing thoughts, like this isn't where I belong. Like, my life is meaningless. Like, why am I checking all these cars? I'm nothing is even, like, I'm not even providing any value. It's not even filling my heart or anything. And I remember my feet were hurting so bad because I just stand all day, and they timed you on your breaks, and you had to ask to use the restroom. And I was like, dude. And again, the common theme was I would see people working there that were old, bro. They were old. And I'm thinking, like, I'm still a young, able-bodied adult. How are people working here still? Like, they're like, I was like, there is something wrong with their brain, like, for real. Like how are other people not understanding that they are literally getting played? So, of course, quit that job, and then I worked at a couple other factories, and then the cycle continues where I quit that job and then move on to the next. And then societal pressure again comes upon me, and it was like, well, if I, like, if I go to college and I get a higher paying job, then I'll feel good about myself, and then society will treat me better because I'll be making more money and have a prestigious job. So I basically went on, like, community college sites, and then I have like good skills on computer. That's why I can make these YouTube videos and do like music production stuff. So I was like, okay, I'm good at computers, so let me find one of the highest paying computer jobs. First thing was like cybersecurity. So I was like, I had no interest in cybersecurity at all, but I was like, yeah, that's what I want to do because it has a big paycheck. And I feel like this is what a lot of people in our society do. They don't even care about what the job is. Does it fulfill their heart? Are they passionate about it? Is this their calling in life? They don't even think about that. They just think about the dollar amount and then they go for it, which I get it. I get it, but I can't do that. So I went through studying it, and I started realizing that it was the same thing that was happening again when I was in high school. Like, they were teaching me things. Like, it was cool, like, oh, computer stuff, like I'm learning computer stuff and then I can make money from my computer. But then I was thinking, like, why can't I pay attention? Why can't I actually learn the information that they're giving me? Like, I remember I was just going through the courses, and like I was reading it, like the words were on the screen, but nothing was getting into my brain. So I was like, something's wrong. Like, I need to figure something out. And that's when I started thinking, like, like, the only way that this is gonna work out, because I'm trying to get fulfillment from other people's jobs and other people's, like, things. Why don't I try to do it from me? right? Why don't I try to be the one that actually does the things rather than relying on people to give me stuff like money and jobs. So I went down the rabbit hole, like how to make money online, how to day trade, how to make 10K a month in 90 days or whatever. And then I started a marketing agency. So basically I quit that job. I moved out of that house. I moved back to my parents when I was 23 and I started a marketing agency. Basically I was completely enslaved to the make money online mindset. But honestly, it was a pretty horrible experience because I was selling marketing services to local businesses. But the one good thing is I learned a lot of skills, which are translating really well into my studio business. And number two, it gave me confidence that I can actually make money by myself on my own schedule without a boss or a job. Like I literally created money for myself with no job. So I'm very happy that I went through that. But then I started realizing that it wasn't the exact career for me. Even though I liked what I was doing because I was being able to be my own boss, I wasn't in the right industry. And then like every time like I would sit at my desk to start my work that day, I was just thinking, like why don't I use all the skills now and just go all in with music? Because for a while, making money with music was foreign to me. Like I had no idea like how are people making money with music? But ever since I started that business, I was like, "Oh, so you basically just pick a service and then market that service to people and then people buy it from you." And I was like, "Oh, well, I'm really good at producing and mixing and mastering. So basically, if I tell people that I can do it for them and that's a service and that they have to pay for it, they'll give me money." And I was like, "Oh, that's how I make money in music." Oh, okay. So I immediately stopped that marketing business and now I run a studio business now. So one last thing I want to say is I'll never work a career job, and all the people that find fulfillment in your regular career job, I'm so glad for you, because out here for people like me, it is hard, bro. Because you guys, like the people that actually find fulfillment in like a corporate America job career, your path is so buttery smooth. Like don't take that for granted. Like if you like picture like you you were born and then you started playing with dump trucks and then your dad worked construction and then all of a sudden you just had a burning passion for construction and like in your heart genuinely like you love construction. You have a very, very like not easy, but you have a very straightforward path of how to be successful, right? Or like maybe you grow up and you love law. You have a very straightforward path of how to be successful. Like you get good grades, you go to law school, you become a lawyer, you work for 40 years, you retire. It's very easy for you. So I would not take that for granted. But all for the people like me that have creative jobs or that want to work for themselves, we do not fit into real jobs. And that's the whole point of me making this video. This is why I will never work a real job. It's because it's literally impossible for me. Like I've tried it. I've done so many jobs. I'm 25. I've probably had like a dozen jobs. Literally. I've probably had like 12 jobs in the past like 7 years. And none of them work. That's why it's impossible for me, and that's why I'll never have a real corporate career job. If you enjoyed this video, like, comment, subscribe. See you later.